All right. Welcome, Jalil. Is that right? Am I saying it correctly? Jalil. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you, dude. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah. Welcome to the Slop. You are deep in the Slop right now. Let's close that out. We are live. Let me make sure we got some audio coming through all the way to the other end. Sometimes that doesn't work. Let me check that real quick.
I'll take a peek as well.
Yeah, we're live. We're good. Okay, welcome. We got a chess game going. We're playing, is it your Claude? What kind of AI are you using on your side?
It's my Fable right here, yeah.
Fable, okay. I think I'm probably on Fable too, unless I get downgraded. If it has to think really hard, it might be like, I don't know, it's not legal for me to do. This is not looking good though. I feel like you're kicking my butt. So you can't see the characters though. For some reason on your browser.
For some reason I don't see the characters. Yeah, I see yours, they're white, and I only see pink squares.
So my guy has already castled, and it feels like you're controlling the middle better, and you've just now castled. They're moving quick though. It's a quick moving game.
Interesting.
But now my rook is like out in the middle of the thing. I don't know. Let's see.
My AI like checked out, or it has a sub agent going.
No, it's doing great. It's doing great, dude. Yeah, it's playing. We can see it on the stream, but yeah, sorry you can't see it. I don't know. Janky. That's what happens with the SlopComputer. Is like I build all of this, and then sometimes it works. Like it took us like 15 minutes for me to get this stream started because I had to hit all of these buttons myself because my scheduler failed me. But welcome. I don't know. Can you give us like an intro? You're you're like an art guy, right? Like what is
I would say, yeah, I'm at the intersection of the art space and more of a dev role, certainly. But yeah, that was my entry to Ethereum, was the digital art movement, if you want to call it that, and has been the main thing that I do for the past 5 years. Yeah.
Amazing.
Many people will probably know Jack Butcher. I worked with him for a few years, full time, and now we're like doing a bunch of stuff together, doing a bunch of stuff separately. I worked on up until just a couple weeks ago. I was with a company foundation called ETHID, an ENS service provider that in the recent drama sort of went belly up. And since then, I'm just like
had a grant offered to them and turned it down, even.
Yes,
out of principle, right? That's Brantley principle.
Yeah.
Yes,
that is Brantley right there. Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, my first ever NFT was my ENS domain, and I can get super excited and geeky about the tech, but sort of my home, my place, my all of my friends, it's all this like digital art world, and I kind of want to think of myself as somebody who could potentially, like, in my mind, these like worlds are a little bit there's so many towns on Ethereum, and sometimes we don't even really know about each other.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome if I could like build some kind of a bridge between those villages or towns or cities or whatever you call them. I was doing for the past few months sign in with Ethereum with Brantley and Co.
I use it every day.
And
you probably signed in with Ethereum into this
to this. Actually, I don't remember. Did I just connect my wallet or sign in? Yeah,
I mean, you're signed in.
It's so good, so you don't even realize.
You don't even know. You just click the button. It's like the instinct of like, sign in, sign the thing, and the signature message is different than a transaction, so it's clear that like you're not signing your life away. Yes,
exactly. That's the Even that, like I had a couple of funny interactions over the past couple of weeks of people where I think they would like fully get the importance of something like signing with Ethereum, and they're like,
"There's been some
heard about it for a few years, but I don't really know what it does." And I was like, "What?"
Oh. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And really, like I sign things all the time with my wallet and then prove those signatures. A lot of times in like custom software, it just makes way more sense to have a standard and have a standard interface and have someone like ETHID championing that out to the wallets and making sure the wallets are doing it correctly, and that will be sorely missed. I don't know.
I mean, that work will continue, I'm sure, in some form. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of as a summary of what I've been doing. It's like some more protocol-y or standards Ethereum-related stuff, but mostly and historically for the past 5 years, the art world, the digital art world. Yeah.
Can you? I see checks in the background. Can you tell us about some of the art projects you've done and kind of maybe some meaning behind those?
Sure. So checks is originally it's Jack Butcher's project. When he minted them first, I didn't even mint any. I was for the first time.
You were the secondary market guy, huh?
I was out on holiday, and then when I came back, Jack messaged me, "Hey, I have this thing, and it's been like picking up. I'd love to build out like this sort of other idea that I have for it. Would you like to join?" And then we put our heads together and built like sort of a separate collection based on his initial mint, and that became like a huge thing in this little art town at the time. So when Jack minted,
what's the thing called?
It's called Checks.
Okay. I knew about checks, but I thought, yeah. Okay.
And when Jack minted, it was sort of this moment in time where Elon took over X or Twitter and had anybody be able to buy his their blue check. And Checks was a commentary on this sort of,
it was on the Google, or it was on the Twitter check thing, like the
on the Twitter check thing, and that moment was when Jack had
the
idea and minted it. And it's sort of if you zoom out a little bit, forget that specific moment. It's just sort of a metaphor for the general sort of move from top-down verification to bottom-up verification. And this is what that symbol sort of embodies for me, at least, is like it's like, what is notable, who says what is notable, is that an endowment by some institution or some back room and some at some company, or is this sort of social consensus, is this something you can buy? And Checks is a commentary on that. And obviously there's lots of like imagery as well in when it comes to crypto, where checking something is of importance. Like
we've got such a good screenshot right now. Can I take a screenshot? Are you ready?
Definitely.
I mean, we're live already, but like, balloons. I got balloons ready. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. It's just such a good screenshot with like the checks in the background, and the chess game's not looking good. I think you're about to. It's a.
Am I losing or am I winning?
I would say you're winning, but it's hard. It's like very close.
It looks like
we both have 4 pawns. We both have our queen and a rook. I would say that you're a little bit better protected, and your queen is a little bit more forward. And
yeah,
I don't know.
It's so funny.
I'm a little bit more defensive.
I'm just guessing my. Is it all? I just see squares. So
you just see squares. All you can see is the squares. Yes, it looks good though. It looks good. Let me. I guess you can see on the live screen, but yes.
Actually, yes. Hang on. Okay.
Yeah, if you look at the live, you'll be able to see it. Okay, so what other? So Checks was Jack. And then you did like
and then the two like Checks. Checks was for me also like I had been building Solidity contracts for a couple of years at that point. But Checks to me is that it's pre-AI, sort of it's all handwritten, and I had always regarded myself as sort of like I took pride in the act of coding. I see it as a craft, and I would like mull over single lines of code for hours. And I'm extremely proud of the Checks contract. So Checks is 2 collections. One is Checks Editions, which Jack originally minted on a sort of do-it-yourself platform called Zora. And then what we built together is called Checks Originals, which is, if Zora is sort of this mutable off-chain, he can change the metadata whenever he wants to. He can
they weren't like SVGs or anything. They were
none
like,
of that. It was yeah. And then
but they look like Checks. SVGs. Like it'd be perfect.
Now, so these that you're looking at, they are.
Okay.
These are these Checks Originals, where the initial mint was all the same, and then you could burn these editions for the originals that the contracts for which I built. And I regard them as still my best work.
Cool.
Especially because of like this moment where AI still was not a thing that you could use for these types of things. And it was a very sort of high stake situation. It was checks was an $8 mint, an open edition, and 16,000 tokens minted initially. And then we had people like we just shared as we went the system design, the artistic, like the generative algorithm for the checks that you see here that you pulled up there. And as we were building for the month or 6 weeks or so that we spent building this out, the price of checks went to like over 1 ETH each, so from $8 to 1 ETH. And then you had 16,000 of those supposed to migrate to a separate collection, and that was a high stakes moment for me to get that right technically. And then of course, like all of this art is fully on chain, and it's sort of an interactive collection where the owner of the pieces can curate pieces together, and sort of there's a genealogy where how they look matters when you put them together to refine them to then build lower and lower check counts. And then there's like, if you scroll down, you see these different...
What's the check count? I don't think I understand that piece.
So initially it was 16,000 tokens.
Okay.
And then each check token comes with 80 checks on them.
Okay.
And then as you refine your checks, you put two, put them together in pairs, and then two 80 check pieces become a 40 check. Two 40s become a 20.
Here we see it. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. That's the interface to
Color
do that.
band is 80.
And
okay,
this project, just like you can like philosophize on this, like what this means. There's less and less colors there, and then if you scroll down even further, you'll see. Okay, so there's the one check, sort of the last step that you can do individually.
Yeah.
And then so this one check would have 64 of the original tokens burned, or 63,
like
and then one remains.
Mixed into it. Oh, just burned to make that one.
And one token is gone, and sort of this is the refinement of that. And then if 64 people that have a one check come together and burn all of those, they can make what is called a black check. And this hasn't happened. If you scroll down, you see a visual of that. And
I see it.
It's like a game, like an on-chain gamified, if you will, system. And
they should
that
be
went
worth
completely
more,
bananas.
right? Like if you have to buy two of them at
to put them
X,
together,
and put them together, it should be 2x for the price.
Yeah. And these single checks are like 64 of the original tokens. So yes, they're worth more. Yeah. Yeah,
the
that
chess
became
game,
like a huge sort of people created derivatives.
Yeah.
That was a crazy moment in time. Yeah. And then shortly after, we had another collection of similar scale called Opepin. And those are like two opposites telling sort of opposite stories. Checks is sort of this reduction to so as you're doing this, the thing that you're creating obviously becomes less liquid. So it's an artistic statement also economically. It's like I am buying into this idea of whatever self-verification or notability, whatever you read into this. And while I'm doing that, I'm sort of destroying my ability to easily get out of the system, because
illiquidity
obviously
is bad.
It's an illiquid act, and I think there's sort of art in that even as well.
Cool.
And Opepin is sort of this opposite, which is like you're not making less and less and less colored things, and less. You're making like infinite derivatives of the same symbol. That's that. Yeah.
Another dot art. Okay, and this one goes the other way. Yes, I've seen these before, and this is more like everyone makes derivatives, and it kind of explodes outward.
Yeah, and what is I think underappreciated with these two collections is at the time, sort of the culture of this digital art space was, the conversation was revolving a lot around IP, and you own these things, and you can like earn money off of them or something, and beware, nobody may use your PFP, or if like you have to own this stuff, and blah 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 blah. And so we like just put that on its head and fully embrace the sort of derivative culture, and here, go ahead and copy as much as possible, and we celebrate that.
Very cool. Yeah, I've seen quite a few of these around, and these people around too. So Tony in the replies said to go check out OPEP, and other people have pointed me at it. He and I disagree. I think he thinks that NFTs are coming back, and I think that maybe 1% of all NFTs are coming back, and knowing which ones those are, but I don't know, the NFT culture, I think we ruined it, man.
Well, it's interesting. I think it's going through to me, even in the very beginning, when I sort of decided to enter this art space, I was, because I have a technical background, the art stuff I find exciting, and this is cool. This is internet culture, and there's a market around that for the first time. It's exciting, but technically, I think there's just a lot of. It's also very vulnerable as an ecosystem to a lot of bad acting, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And in the beginning, when I was sort of learning Solidity and looking at all of these exploits at the time and whatnot, I was really unsure whether I want to engage with it as the thing that I do now. Ultimately, obviously, decided to dive in, but I think over the past couple of years, this digital art space has gone through sort of a filtering out of, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of shit that
everyone's lost a lot of money, and bad things have come in that a lot of people are out. And
but also during this crazy bubble in 2021, a lot of the stuff that was going on was not, in my opinion, not entirely genuine, or wasn't actually serving this space at all, and everything going down is sort of second order effects of those things. I think. So it's a consolidation. It's a and yes, I'm with you. 99+% of the stuff that we thought would be meaningful or important will go away, and and
maybe
some stuff will survive.
Just because so much stuff is there, and if you look at the 1%, it's still a lot of cool things will survive, and hopefully.
I mean, the best example I think is there's already, in my opinion, Lindy examples of digital art where CryptoPunks has lived through, has such a long story now, and there's still so many people that engage with that and find that meaningful. That to me, this alone is proof that
and it's so
there's value in both digital art,
NFTs, right? Sorry, keep going.
No. Sorry, I'm just blabbing.
No, you're not. You're telling the truth, man. Kick it. Give us the truth.
I think what a project like this so beautifully, this is what I've never understood. CryptoPunks is a less than 250 line smart contract that visualizes as a complete object that is immutable and never going to change. And I'm not talking about a website like this. I'm really talking about the smart contract.
Yeah.
Is the embodiment of Ethereum, at least from my perspective, is an unruggable, open, global, 24/7, immutable. Nobody can gatekeep this market that just keeps on working without any institution or single company or government or whatever being able to prevent you from interacting with this. And that is a special idea worth telling the world, I think, and that makes something like this, I think, incredibly Lindy and beautiful, important.
How many lines? 246 lines. You could compress it too, and this isn't
just
it's the collectibles. This is the marketplace, right?
This is the marketplace.
This is the whole thing.
The whole thing. So
yes,
and that's what I find so interesting. I was sort of, when I first saw NFTs, I was like, what the hell? And then Jack sent me Punks, and I opened up Etherscan and looked at the contract and read through it. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
And I just read for a couple of hours, and that
so you
really
were
got me hooked
sniped. You were
in
nerd
learning
sniped
solidity.
by like the CryptoPunk smart contract.
Yes, it's such a cool piece of software. It has its quirks. There's a couple of bugs there.
Really?
Actually, so like Punks is such a universe, you know, like this is the second deployment of the contract.
This is the
that
V2,
studio Larva Labs did. The first one was really bugged, but this one also has a couple bugs. But it's a working marketplace. That
are people still using it, or do you wrap to, like when people are buying and selling punks?
The main marketplace that's in use is still the smart contract.
It's still this one. Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, and I'm a I'm sort of I get emotional about these rapper things because
you don't like the rappers, like they're
I hate
impure.
them. Yeah, to me they destroy sort of the provenance of something as special as this contract, because you're never then like if you're interacting with a wrap token, you're not interacting with this code at all.
Right.
The token that this code manages just sits in that wrapper contract, right? So, this is just like extremely cool to me, and
it's very cool.
And for example, with something like checks, I aspire to write code that is as sort of approachable and fun to read as this.
Yeah, it really is. Like you can anybody with a little bit of a software background can read this code and understand what's happening here. There's bids being placed and withdrawn. There's like these structures for the bid and for the offers.
Yes,
it's pretty clear. You don't have to know anything about solidity.
At this point, you don't even need to be a developer. If you really sit down for half an hour and you put your mind to like understanding what's going on here, it's not that hard to understand. And that's been one of my like. I wrote an article a few years ago. I think it's on punks.vv.xyz. Let me check.
You want me to find it? Punk?
Sure, yeah. Punks.vv.xyz. Yeah, understanding CryptoPunks it's called. And that like takes people bit by bit, line by line, basically to understand the CryptoPunk smart contract. Yeah, this one. And
let me put a QR code up for it if someone wants it.
Oh, sick, dude!
Of course we have
SlopComputer. It's not
the
so
SlopComputer.
That's awesome.
The chess game, you're winning, by the way. Like I'll be lucky. I'll be lucky if I can pull a draw off. It's not looking good. You've got one pawn on me. Okay, so understanding
my agent has done well. Yeah,
your agent has done well for sure.
I think this would. I mean, you're an educator too, right? Or you are an educator. I'm not an educator. I would like to be, but
this counts as education for sure.
I think people need to understand to some degree the inner workings of the world computer to really appreciate what it does and what it like. How special interacting with this stuff is. So I think it would be a beautiful thing to I know a lot about the sort of UX conversations are about like abstracting all the complexities away. And I'm always in the camp of like, I actually don't think they're that complex. And this is more about the art stuff. But then if you continue to a couple chapters down the line, it's like just like explaining the actual code.
This was cool too. When I first realized what this was, like the giant image. When I realized that the giant image, and you're basically buying like an index within this giant image.
Yes.
But really, like they weren't. You could put all this on chain. Like a CryptoPunk is like the pixels.
Yeah.
And had CryptoPunks come out a couple years later, it probably would be fully on chain.
Yeah,
but technically,
I mean, by now there's contracts that have all punks fully on chain. Yeah.
Okay.
But when they first launched it, they just put a hash of this file.
And you can see that
page.
In
I'm explaining the hashing. Yeah. The hash is in the contract. Yeah. And
then, you see this in the smart contract, and that's basically a reference to the art that can't be changed. And then this art lives all over an IPFS, probably, where people can get to it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Originally on GitHub, and then here I'm explaining how to like SHA-256 verify the hash and
to verify the CryptoPunk image.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I just think it's cool to sort of help people try and understand some of this, and I actually don't think it's that difficult, and if you take some time, and it just makes interacting with Ethereum, in my opinion, so much more fun to have that. I would like more people to sort of have this ambition of like, yeah, what does this contract actually do? What am I doing here? Why is this? Why does it work like that? Can somebody change the workings of it down the line? Yeah.
The process of you coming in. So when anybody comes into crypto, they usually get hit with the junk first, and the scammers, and the claim the fees. They don't have the good route. Some of the best people that have come into the space have come in because someone who is smart and interesting has said, check out this cool and interesting thing. And they basically pull them through the crap and show them the heart, the beautiful thing first. And then you say, whoa, what is this? And then you kind of learn from the inside out. Whereas generally without someone, I've always called it a shepherd. Without that shepherd, and I think Mike Demerai from Rainbow maybe was the first one I heard call it a shepherd. I shouldn't take credit, but this idea of a shepherd, you need a shepherd because there's so much crap at the gate. But when you walk up to think about going in, there's so much shit right here that's like, no way I want to go in there. There's a bunch of shit all over. But when you have a shepherd that sort of like grabs you and takes you over to the really cool stuff in the middle and shows you that first, that really brings you in. And we need more of this kind of stuff, and shepherds bringing folks like you in to show this cool stuff off.
Yeah. I mean, again, when I first read this contract, I was hooked. Like,
And there's money here too, right? When you're looking at these things and they're selling for $100,000 a piece, that's really interesting. Also, like,
it's all
the art, yes, the tech, but the incentives are an important piece of this ecosystem.
Just the notion that you can have this little code, and I mean something like, for example, WETH is a beautiful example.
I show the WETH contract off whenever I do a talk for a university or a classroom. I come here and I go to the code and I show like deposit and withdraw. And it's so like stupid simple. Anybody can see that like your balance goes up when you call deposit. And when you call withdraw, we make sure that you have enough in your balance and we subtract from your balance. That's it. That's the code. We're just keeping, it's a unit of account of you depositing and withdrawing. And then I scroll up here and I say, let's see how much money there is. How about $4.6 billion, kids? What do you think about programming money when you can program $4.6 billion? Yeah.
And then having something that is literally like, what is this? Less than 50 lines of code.
Oh yeah.
Manage safely over so many years, this much. Yeah, if you remove the comments, I guess, but like manage this much value, that is special, independent of the ability to whatever, make money or whatever. I think just the notion that so much value is secured by this little code, that is the aha moment that I think, or that's the interesting part. Yeah.
You had a really ripping tweet about your 6-month recap. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Sure. I was sitting like when we decided to
the ETH ID thing,
the ETH ID thing to wind that down. I mean, it's Brantley's baby, and it was his decision at the end of the day. But I support him in that. I mean, we just take it as it comes, right? This is my first sort of job in over 9 years or so. And it was fun for me to take on something like signing with Ethereum and really try and make that better. And the notion of doing like public good work, I regard a ton of the work that I did prior to this also as public good work. But here there's just no doubt, right? You're maintaining and working on protocols that are important for the internet. They're open standards, and it's funded through by public good funding. It's a not-for-profit foundation. That felt special to me. So I was bummed to to have that end in this manner. And of course, the whole initiation I was bound by. And then the next day, I sat down and was like, well, why not like put out into the world sort of the signal, hey, like I actually am looking for work, and rather than like writing sort of a resume and reaching out to people in private, I thought like, why don't I sort of do also for me personally sort of a summary what I did over the past half year, and put the notion of, hey, I'm open to opportunities. Please reach out.
And it did numbers too.
And yeah, I just sat down for an hour or two and gathered everything I did and put that together. And that was a really cool experience for myself, because you don't really know. 6 months is a really long time, and you forget a bunch of things. I just went into my GitHub and was like, everything that I touched in the last 6 months, and it amounted to like a whole bunch of work, which I encourage other people to do the same. And just like, it's a cool reflection to, I think people will be surprised as to, this looks a lot, but then also maybe not, you know, like
6 months, who knows? Like,
yeah, 6 months is a long time, and I think most people do more in 6 months than they realize.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can talk about these individual things, definitely.
What are some highlights here? Let's hit on.
What would you be interested in?
No, you tell. Okay, so I mean, this idea of on-chain provenance, like when we're talking about NFTs, I think on-chain NFTs, provenance, like that kind of stuff to me is very interesting. I think that this podcast is kind of like crypto and AI and how you build with AI. We really haven't talked a whole lot about any AI stuff yet.
True.
But
Yeah,
I'm guessing in the last 6 months, your process of building has changed a lot. Maybe if there's any of these that, you know, wouldn't be possible. Your favorites, like, let's talk about your favorites, but don't worry about, we're here to talk about cool shit.
I've said this. I've shared this, so people that like know me, they've heard this a couple of times, but I'll share it anyways. When AI, one of the things that I think I was best at, as like a specific skill of mine, was to take a napkin sketch and turn it into something tangible and real. So in my relationship, for example, to Jack, this artist that I did checks with, for example, he's an insane idea person, and an incredible sort of visual communicator, and also in words communicator. And when he had an idea, I felt like this was my core strength, to bring that into reality, and that's the kind of work that sort of was very fulfilling to me. And then this was 2024, actually even 2023 summer. This started where, you remember like Claude artifacts coming out, and you were already able to sort of prompt with ChatGPT code-wise. There weren't these tools, but then Cursor came out. And people started using.
You were copy pasting it first, and then with Cursor,
copy pasting around.
It
was always like single file experiments. But then specifically for a lot of this like generative art stuff, if you're using, for example, P5, which is sort of
I did some generative art stuff with
generative
P5.
art library or visualization library. A lot of that is just like editing one file. So my core skill of sort of prototyping new visual ideas, for example, was already in 2024, 2023 even, sort of starting to be questioned by these up-and-coming AI tools. And Jack was starting to, for example, use these to like jot down his ideas rather than giving me a napkin sketch. And that was a huge sort of, for me, for my self-image, that was definitely a struggle.
It was scary, right? Like, oh, like I'm going to be replaced. Like you can just, like the idea guy can implement it now, and it
can implement it, and the work that I really enjoy doing is like this tinkering and fiddling around with code, and then making it sort of organized nicely. Like I care about how the code itself looks and is structured. But these AI tools didn't really, like, it was just like the output looked cool, but sort of that whole friction, it does question sort of your. I had troubles during that time, sort of grasping this like new era, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, up until Claude Code in like February was announced, and I somehow got into the early beta or whatever, public beta or private beta. I don't know. I ended up, and it was in the terminal. I was like, I felt home. It was I have my Vim editor here, and I could never warm up to the 2024 2023 version of Cursor.
Okay.
Like you have sort of
it is kind of boomer. Like going back to Cursor is kind of boomer, and having
I've meant to try it now that like SpaceX bought it,
for me they lean too far into agents, and I'm like, give me my code back so I can see my code.
That was my feeling, yes.
Yeah.
And but then Claude Code gave that back to me in some sense, and suddenly I was like, oh, okay, I want to try this now, and this feels home, and I got hooked on Claude.
See, I didn't like Claude Code until Opus 4.5 came out. I was using it, and I didn't like it very much. I liked Cursor, and I liked some of my own harness tools more than I liked Claude Code until Opus 4.5 came out. I would say that like Opus 4.3 or whatever. I don't know if 4.4 was even a thing, but like I tried Claude Code with Opus, and it just wasn't as good as what I was using in other places. I couldn't get the same output until Opus 4.5. And the combination of Opus 4.5 and Claude Code in November was like, this is it. Like, I'm done with Cursor now. I'll go to Cursor when I want to look at the code. I don't want to look at the code anymore. Yeah. And so this is another thing that you're battling with is like, do you still look at the code now that you like beautiful looking code?
I still do. Yes, I'm very picky about most of
especially a smart contract. If you're putting 200 lines on chain forever, spend some time looking at that code for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. So like to me, it's like the more sort of permanent something is, be it a deployed artifact like a generative artwork that might be JavaScript or like HTML-based art or SVG. I want that to be giga clean because that's supposed to be mutable. And then and the smart contract definitely. But then when it comes to like web stuff, at this point, I am skimming the code, if anything.
I'm not even like picking the language anymore. Like I would pre-November for November 2025, I would be very picky and be like, it needs to be Node, it needs to do this. Like I'm spewing the overall architecture and letting it fill it in.
I'm still in that camp. To be honest.
I'm not. I'm like, I need this thing to do this, and I don't even like. I'm explaining the front end. And I'm not even saying it needs a back end. I'm assuming that it's going to understand that what I need in the front end will need a back end. I'm not even talking about the language. And so it'll like do like a Python server. And I used to never write any Python.
Yeah.
And now like almost all my apps have Python servers on them now because I just like express what I want the app to do. And I have like a little icon on my desktop now, and the app does what it needs to do.
I mean, one thing that I've sort of with my own relationship, like with this, like on the one hand, I see somebody like Jack now build complete systems from API to front-end to emailing, etc. Without any involvement from somebody like me, and that is fascinating and awesome. When I build things, I still want to. I'm opinionated about stack and stuff, and then I feel like there's sort of this. You have to be, if you want your code to be organized a certain way, you have to still like be very hands-on in molding or directing the agent to do what you want to be doing. And then the more you do that, the better the system, like the better the agents
you
will
lay a good
know how to
groundwork.
like. And I feel like if you aren't careful, then agents are still gonna
get the slop,
do really
man.
Stupid stuff.
Yes, you get the slop. Oh my thing's not working anymore.
Implementing the same utilities over and over again, things like this. So yeah, I still try to be careful there, but I find it absolutely beautiful and fascinating what people like, I guess yourself and Jack are able to do with these tools without any regard for the code.
Yeah, I am definitely a sloperator who just like throws ideas out there. There we go. Now I got my background back. There's my claws. Yeah, there we
Sick.
go. Yes, and so I used to write a lot of code, but in writing the code, it was always a means to an end. Like I was writing code to get the thing to do what it needed to do, and I don't know if I really ever took like I started as like an electrical engineer, so I started writing like C code in chips, and so you have to be like low level. You have to be thinking about memory. You have to be thinking like every little thing. But in the long run, I was building like a drink mixer, and what I wanted was my drinks to get mixed by my robot, and like that was the goal. And then like I built like a brewing rig in my garage. Like what I wanted was for the rig to brew. I didn't really care that much about the code. And as you know, time goes on, I became more and more abstracted from it. So for me, like it's just as a natural step into AI. It's just like I just have to go up levels of abstraction and start explaining my intent.
I mean, that's totally fair. And I might get there eventually. And for some, like for example, let's say something like signing with Ethereum. You want the standard implementation.
You spent way more time on the standard than the implementation. Like the standard took a ton of time, and then once it's just like the Ethereum protocol itself, right? Like an EIP takes forever, and they spend forever mulling over every possible thing that can go wrong and every little detail. The implementation is pretty quick usually, and we're going to get to a point where there's very few core devs that are actually implementing code, and it's going to be like one shot by AI because of a good spec, right? You start with a good spec even now.
Yeah, interesting. Like I've especially with signing with Ethereum, one of the stuff that I was doing for the past few months was we found one issue in the spec where the spec was actually contradicting itself, and that was actually by accident in talking to an AI. So the AI found it, then sort of ping-ponging between implementation and what actually makes sense on the implementation side and the spec, even though the spec is already finalized for a sign with Ethereum. Then I went into a super deep rabbit hole to try and find, like, let's find all issues with the spec. And we're at a point where AI can go insanely deep. Also, you know, like with like internet standards and reading tons and tons of documentation that we cannot attempt to read, and then direct us, hey, so this actually contradicts that, and that's like
this like minuscule detail, like 10,000 words deep, and this minuscule detail.
So even at a point where the AI can sort of rewrite some of these specs or find issues in the specs, and of course, I agree with you. The implementations will be quick, and it's going to improve more and more and more. But still, I feel like it's important that somebody sits down and actually reads the code. And for one example, I started working on the Discourse plugin for sign in with Ethereum. Because there was just literally something broken with an old Wallet Connect implementation in it. So I started updating it. Blah, blah. We installed it on the ENS forum, and literally testing in production. Like, something here doesn't make sense. Why can Brantley not sign in? And then I was going back and actually reading the code, and I found an insane vulnerability that had been in there for over 4 years, where anybody that had their wallet connected to their Discourse account, anybody else would be able to completely take over that account and log in with.
And that wasn't AI that wrote that. That was
that wasn't AI that wrote that, and it wasn't AI that found the bug.
It was all human.
That was even though I had AI fixing the Wallet Connect issue, right? So yeah,
interesting.
I don't know. I'm still in the. I see parts of the code, at least, as my.
I respect it. I respect it. So what does your stack look like? Like, how do you build with AI? Or if you were going to like put together a new project right now, what does it look like?
I mean, one of the things that I was, if you go back to this 6-month recap, The very first library that I put together is years and years of sort of the way I approached new projects was always, I had sort of my own sort of design system, my own CSS design system that I built over the years that would enable me to like more quickly crunch out a new application or a new site. And just sat down, okay, let's extract this into an actual library. So when I maintain these projects, I don't do that in 5 different places. So all the way up, 1001 layers is a very it's sort of my opinionated way of how to build dApps, and it's based on a system called Nuxt Layers, where it's sort of the base implementations of certain components, and normally this is for like sort of user interface utilities. Comes from many people maybe know what's this React thing called that everybody uses. I forget, but it's sort of a component library. And this is sort of the abstraction of everything that I had built up to this point, and putting it into a component library that then gets really easy to extend in your own app and have super customizable wallet connect and transaction request flows and sign with Ethereum so this is a core building block sort of.
So this is where you start. When you go to build something, you give this to your AI.
Yes.
And you say, we're building on top of this. Don't try to build something.
Don't reinvent the wheel. Just please use these components whenever you can. And then
in
that
Claude
makes everything
Code,
extremely fast.
Babel.
Yeah, you can pull this into Claude Code and tell it, hey,
what are you doing though? What's your stack? So you grab this and what do you do? Yeah. I
constantly ping pong between Claude. I prefer the Claude harness over Codex. To me, the sort of I still use the terminal for these things. I'm on Linux also, and up until like last week.
No wonder you can't see the chess pieces. I didn't know you were on Linux. At least this worked. We're lucky we're even here with shared video.
Yeah.
You don't have to update a driver.
There's no desktop apps for these things. So I use the terminal harnesses, and I constantly switch between Codex, whatever is the latest model. I mean, I'm in Europe, so Fable was disabled for a while.
Same here.
Codex and Claude, and I ping pong. And at this point, I don't even think it really matters. It's like every time I talk about it, to me, like I look at it, maybe it doesn't make any sense. Like I've had people laugh at this, but to me, it's like playing with clay. Software used to be like extremely difficult. You like building a house of cards, and you remove one thing, and the whole thing falls down if you're not careful. Now it's like you have this. You're I don't know the English words, but like you're making like a bowl or something, and you can constantly reshape it. And
it's stable.
And it's pretty stable. I mean, at least if you can go back into another form pretty quickly, right? If you mess something up. But yeah, so I just take these libraries that I've built, and for each sort of Lego brick that I was able to extract during the last few months of work, in this Twitter thread, I have like lots of different mini Lego blocks. Like, is it interacting with IPFS, or is it building indexers and resolving ENS stuff? All these things I put into libraries that I can just then point my agent to and say, hey, I need this, I need that, pull this together, and sort of the base Lego bricks are there, and I can focus on the actual sort of user interface, etc.
So I can talk about I have an educator. I do speedrun Ethereum. I teach people how to build on Ethereum. And
yes, awesome.
The base thing there is scaffold ETH. And so anytime I build a dApp, I have everything built in. Things like signing with Ethereum are all built in. Oh man, stop.
In a way, yes, I know scaffold is awesome. Layers, this like thing we were just looking at, is very similar.
Similar, yeah.
Instead of what it's supposed to solve for people. Yes.
The thing I was going to say is I recently built something called $1 audit, and I didn't even tell it to use
some live
scaffolding.
state data to parse through it.
I don't know what we did to trigger him to talk.
I love it. Hello, sir. Can we just press this? Yeah, I think I muted him.
Yeah, you muted him for you,
Okay.
but yeah, he can talk to us for sure.
That's crazy. So is he listening to everything we say and transcribing it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How many tokens does this use? That's
I don't know. We don't think about tokens in
Hey,
SlopComputer.
welcome in.
I love
No
it.
worries.
Yeah,
Everybody's
awesome.
new to this stuff at
Also,
some
this
point.
I saw this
Glad
on the
you're
timeline.
here.
Yeah, amazing work. I've been meaning to try it.
So okay, so I wrote $1 audit, and when I prompted it, I was like,
Yep.
I
The
need
room
a
speech
front
gets
end.
transcribed into a log I can search
Wow.
later, but I only actually read the few seconds around when someone calls on me, so it's pretty light on tokens.
Okay, he was answering your token question. That's nice. Okay. So let me go. He's confusing me. So I was going to build this $1 audit, which is on top of a website that he built called Left Claw Services. The service and everything is already built. I just needed a website to sort of meme the fact that you can get an audit for $1. We already had the pipeline and the auditing and everything ready to go. But I just prompted it and I was like, I need a front end for this thing, or I need a front end people can connect their wallet. And I didn't tell it scaffold.eth. And I usually do. I usually say use scaffold.eth. And it didn't use scaffold.eth. It's just like you can connect your wallet here, and it's kind of like this ugly. Let me see if I paste something in here and I hit commission. You can't see it. Darn it. But it's like it's kind of an ugly thing that's like, hey, do you want to use your injected wallet? Or it's like, a little bit of UX that I would have wanted to have improved within scaffold.eth. But I didn't really need all the stuff from scaffold.eth. And I just let it be. It was like a turning point moment for me of like the app that I just built connects a wallet and doesn't use my starter kit that I've used for the last 6 years. Something different is happening here, and it works. I connected my wallet, I paid, and I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to use it like this. It's fine.
A lesson in detachment.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Now I'm like the guy on the roller coaster who's just like riding and doesn't even care. Like I have no control of anything.
Yeah. I hope I can get there eventually.
But some of it is the beauty and the art, right? For me, it was always like a means to an end. It was never really about the beauty and the art of the thing. It was always about I want to make something and put it in someone else's hands, and I want them to use it. And I'm sure you have a lot of that too. But you definitely have this the code needs to be beautiful too, which is makes you a perfect smart contract developer. People who take their code that seriously, those are the people that should be writing smart contract. Not me.
I mean, that's another one of the things that I was working on over I stumbled over this first CryptoPunks deployment had a serious marketplace bug where if you were to buy one of my punks, you didn't only get the punk, but you also got the ETH back. So that obviously is a non-functioning marketplace, right? What they did was they launched a new duplicated the collection and airdropped
Just
all the
migrated.
tokens.
The tokens.
And sort of the social consensus. This is the thing now, and the original contract, the initial contract, that was just
That's
dead
why
for
there's
years
V1
and years and
punks
years.
still. You see someone sell their punk with the V1 punk attached to it. It's because there was kind of like a fork, and you've got Ethereum Classic and Ethereum, and you're just sending them both along.
Up until this point, there was, to my knowledge, never a sale of a pair, because that just didn't exist. I built an auction house a couple of weeks ago where I sold my pair.
That's cool.
And that was the first time that in a transaction on Ethereum, both this V1 punk, whatever you call it, artifact, and the canonical punk.
And they looked a little different. Why did your V1 punk look a little different than your V2 punk?
I put a gray background just to differentiate them.
Okay. It was just it was your doing. It's the same exact punk. the same exact
the actual
hash.
image linked in the contract is the same hash, and that
Same hash.
the actual image is just a transparent image. It's
Right.
punks on a transparent
Right.
background, so they don't have background colors. That was like added sort of for convenience by the studio that built punks, to see all punks that are listed, all punks that have bids. They all have different backgrounds. But after 9 years, I find a fix for this original contract. So, and I put so much effort into building this this sort of extension for the original contract, and I deployed that like a couple months ago. And just last week, I think there was an alien sale of a V1 punk, and there have never been legitimate sales on that before this. Of
Did
like
they use your
180
code? Like they
ETH,
use...
and they use my contract. Yeah,
Dude, that's so
punksmarket.eth. And
Yeah.
like this is the type of work that I feel like I'm not a, you know, I feel when I talk to researchers or like, you know, like Ethereum core devs or something, like if I ever talk to them, but like that feels intimidating. I'm not that, but I love tinkering with solidity, and I do think like there's, even for plebs like myself, there's ways to find like interesting solutions to problems that maybe other people like don't see. And then probably an AI also wouldn't. Yeah, I still think there's some form of like human creativity that cannot be captured by, and that sounds incredibly full of myself. That's stupid. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
man.
you get the point.
I put you at a high echelon after talking to you and seeing some of your stuff like that. That's above my pay grade for sure. It's really neat. So yeah, I don't know. Any closing thoughts? Where do we go from here? Like some NFTs will come back. The shit is always going to be there, right? Like at the gates of the castle, it's just surrounded by shit, but you can see that there's some gleaming cool things if you wade through it. Like what's going to happen from here?
Yeah, if you like wade through the SHIT, there is absolutely beautiful stuff in the Ethereum art, crypto art niche. And I would love to see those like core Ethereum movements sort of be able to get to seeing that and appreciating that. I think there's a lot of beautiful, also culturally beautiful stuff going on in this niche. If I have any parting words, I'd be happy. Like it would bring a lot of joy to me to eventually see those things converge more than they are, because I totally get like looking at this from an outside perspective, or from like it feels like, oh, why did they do this to our beautiful chain? I get that. And I can absolutely empathize with that. But there's also so much really cool, beautiful stuff that actually shows how fun and awesome the world computer is to interact with. And
I'm grabbing the first 100 lines of visible.
There's many people that have very pure, I think, sort of lookings on something like Ethereum. One of my favorite people, Luke Weaver, for example, he mints every day. And there's just a special overlap, I think, in terms of values, and that should be like built upon and grown further. And I do think that, if anything, has to survive, like that, or that will survive, and I'm absolutely sure of it.
And we know like a lot of these things that are on chain are going to survive, and even like the protocols,
even just technically,
yeah, like your .eth is not going anywhere, right? Like your .eth, even though there's some drama around ENS, it's more about the drama around
checking the status of the local meat service. A couple of API.
Man. Stop. Why? Like the capital allocation is getting captured, and I think
it's a bit deeper than that. Specifically for this ENS case, and consensus is one of Jack's my partner favorite lines was consensus is temporary. So I mean, I would absolutely, I think ENS is a beautiful public good on the internet, and I would hate to see it sort of lose its social consensus. I think it's actually in grave danger of that happening. But I love ENS, and if there's any way to rectify the damage that's been done, just in terms of its brand, I think that'd be a beautiful thing. Technically, these things might be like also art that you deployed in
2021 might be permanent and still nobody cares about it, right? So there's definitely like social and cultural components to the stuff that are important. And I don't see these things as a given. Sorry to like contradict you on that, but yeah, I love ENS.
You're talking about the consensus of the chain, or you're talking about the consensus of the. So the smart contract is going to do what it's going to do as long as the chain comes to a correct consensus, and the chain will come to a correct. Smart contracts
at the end of the day, I don't think really matter if people don't agree on what they. At the end of the day, everything is social consensus, in my opinion.
Okay.
And if you have like,
you're saying that like you can still query the smart contract for the .eth, but if no one gives a fuck about .eth anymore, then it's not. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. If .gwei names take over and everybody starts using that, or tempo becomes the name chain or something, and everyone, I'm glad that that's still funny. Good. One day that won't be so funny, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, yes, and I do think we have to be careful that like social and cultural capital that has grown over years and years with the participation of many people. That like trust is easily trust. What's the saying? Like trust is very hard to come by and very quickly and easily destroyed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so to me, these things are definitely more than a technical question. There's like, if there's disunity in the community there, then that's a very bad thing. Independent of the smart contracts continuing to work, nobody cares at the end of
social consensus on top of protocol consensus.
I think that's important and underrated.
Yep.
Anyway,
that's interesting.
That's a sad note to end on.
Yeah. It kind of like makes this like, forever world computer less important if there's a different consensus.
I disagree because it enables social consensus in the first place. Like
the
immutability property of something. One of the funny
pushes the
things,
consensus
for example,
to the social level
we say that we need to build things that remove trust. And I see those things a little bit differently. I see something like, for example, an immutable protocol enable trust, right? So, and those things are hard to come by, and that makes the world computer special because it enables me trusting in something. Yeah, and yeah,
cool.
Something like ENS, for example, if we want to get specific, if there's community consensus that a public good is funding public goods, or like ENS only works when there's fees involved by design, and it can be seen as a true public good if those fees are used to develop a public good or many public goods, whatever you want to call it. And if the trust that the funds are being used for public good purposes is lost, and I'm not saying that is the case, but there's a conversation around this, obviously, then that would be a terrible thing because it loses its standing as an internet level protocol that is a public good that's credibly neutral, and the funds of which are directed to a social consensus of what a public good's supposed to be doing, rather than a few people that would decide over that. And I do think those details matter.
It is powerful. Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's a great way to end. Any closing comments for the sloperators out there, the artists, the people that are at the gates thinking about it and seeing the SHIT? Like, what's your advice to them, and how do we get them to come see the beautiful parts?
See the try and read. I always go back. Like, try and read the contracts and try and understand some of these contracts.
See how beautiful
it is. The most awesome thing we can be doing. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, dude.
Yeah.
It's been an honor.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing some really neat, really cool stuff, and I think it will inspire another generation of art/tech people like yourself, and we need more of those folks in here.
Thank you. And I hear a German song.
Is it German?
It's German, yeah.
Awesome. All right, I meant to do that. I picked that out just for you. All that work Claude was doing. He was like, "Hey, play this song. You'll love it." Awesome. All right, man. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Thank you for being here. See you all who have been watching at home. Thank you very much. See you.
Christlich und werbefrei. sind in Windeln gewickelt und in einer Krippe liegen. Pro-Players Livestreams für Gamer, Christen und für dich, weil Pro-Players besser ist. Alle anderen Streams, denn wir sind christlich und werbefrei.
Und alsbald war da bei dem Engel die Menge der himmlischen Heerscharen, die lobten Gott und sprachen:
Pro-Players Livestreams für Gamer und Christen und für dich, weil Pro-Players besser ist.